within our five senses. So when we leave here, if we leave here in this hypothalamus state, meaning that majority of our life, that's the state we were in, which we carried constant emotional charge. So by the DMT releasing, it went gamma, and it had to go back to source energy, and it has to go back down to the false state and has to try it again. Because its last level, its last moment showed that it was finite consciousness, grounded in third density. So upon leaving, it takes that pattern with it, and then it programs this whole new reality from that perspective back into this incarnation cycle of reincarnating, etc., going through this process. But when you're consciously creating and you're consciously expanding, then you're reaching basically higher levels of ascension. I'm going to put some music on in the background here as I go into the lesson plan. I've already pretty much gone into it, but this will basically take it into another layer, especially with the music here. It's going to be really light in the background here. Probably hear that. Okay. Go back to the main page here. So we're getting deeper into this level of consciousness, going deeper into these core plasma realizations and what they really mean on this level of expression. So if we go to the main page and we look at on-demand episodes, and we look directly, it says July 29, 2010, the title is Intergration Frequencies, Releasing DMT Full Spectrum. DMT production is the process and the expression of source energy in this dimension of time and space. DMT produces the interlinking physical connection of source energy grounded in third density expression. Our experience consists of perfection of the God particle. This process of releasing DMT in the ascension state and descension state are two different realities and systems altogether. We do know the hypothalamus is the governing mechanism in third density, which carries this black hole construct. This produces and releases chemicals, basically to dictate the body into a certain action. This is a system of control, and this is where all belief systems derive their power from. The belief system has the emotional response which releases a chemical response from our bodies. During this process, chemically, are linked up to the finite circuitry of creation. The reason why it's so hard to let go of something is because not only energetically are you charged from it, but you're also chemically charged to it, which means it's creating right now a memory that is tied to the body. The body is a storage unit of information from our memory system because the chemical release that occurs. The more the body can be controlled by the hypothalamus, the more NWO belief systems and controls can be put into place. So basically, what this is saying is that the frequencies that are taking place through our own interaction levels, through our own energy, because none of this other stuff could exist, this finite construct could not exist unless we created it. So since we know that we created it, and we know how we created it, then we can start decoding it, reprogramming it, and having a new creation in that moment, which takes all energy out of the time loop back into the infinite awareness, back into this infinite singularity point of consciousness outside of the mechanisms of controlling. So, see, we produce very small amounts of DMT when we sleep, but when we go to sleep in the state of charged energy in this finite state, then we now enter into the dreamscape. The irony is the deep sleep because you can't remember dreams. The majority of a lot of people, when they dream, they can't remember their dreams. And it's interesting because it shows that your dreams are showing you another way to perceive information. Perceive differently as you perceived in the waking state, because in the dream state, you have more perception levels that are actually open. But for some reason, we can't remember our dreams. And the reason why we can't remember our dreams is because we don't have enough energy in a conscious state to be aware of those dreams, because the infinite awareness is not there. The body's sleeping, the body's off doing its thing, but consciously, it's not creating. It's in an unconscious state. It's aware of its sleeping. The more awareness you have, the more dreams you can remember. And you'll start to notice these different things, these different abilities that seem like they're abilities when they're not. It's just the fluidity of energy, the fluidity of expression in its purest form. So we go deeper into this, and we start to look at some of the mechanisms that are in place. So we start to say, well, that must be done on purpose, because then you're unconsciously dreaming, which means you don't know what you're creating outside of this third density, because it's operating on the outside of your senses. So if it's operating outside of your senses, it means that there's control mechanisms that are keeping them from coming into your senses, into your awareness to expand. It's done on purpose, but it's still, because you are participating in this, it's still your energy. DMT is the natural flow of source energy. It replaces the chemical responses in the body, transcends the hypothalamus into a DMT-producing chemical release. So the hypothalamus is now interlinking with the pineal gland. So the chemical response to that beautiful creation is a pineal gland. It's a Stargate chemical action that takes place. So we start to see, our bodies become lighter, crystalline, all this other stuff. That's the chemical reaction of that connection. So now you're getting DMT both energetically but also chemically. Same process as before, but now it's harmonized. Your hypothalamus and pineal gland are now in agreement with each other. So you're now bringing in the giving and receiving energy, the I am that I am. This now connects your whole physical and energetic body together, the glue, so to speak. Your body now has a chemical connection to Ascension, meaning that every meridian and particle that you exist as is divinity, the divine plan of creation and cosmic quantum action. This process starts here physically, but this process has also occurred already on the higher perception levels of experience. We call them perception levels instead of dimensions. We then open the next layer of what that word expresses. A dimension is another way to express another reality. Well, if you take it and you consciously say what I just got finished saying in that moment, saying it's your level of perception, then you would know that you can travel to other dimensions by switching your perception levels. Your perception levels are what open you directly into these higher states of consciousness, into this higher state of being and higher state of expressing. So this interlinking, this process of energy and chemically, this then creates a harmonious reality of expression here in third density, because you're literally tied into source energy consciously. We're always in a constant action of creating. 1% may be awake and 98% is asleep. This is what I call a sleeping experience in third density. Reason for that, the reason for being, and in connecting to that is because your energy is fragmented. So there's very little energy to operate anything on your life system to keep you alive in this dimension. So the only thing there's enough energy to support your life system, that's it. The rest of it, you're totally not aware of. In the state, you are very easily manipulated and do things unconsciously. When we're unconsciously creating, we are connected to a black hole construct, and that construct limits us. It prevents us from reaching our highest potentialities as creator and creation. See, we are both goddess and God. They both mean infinity, and with the understanding of goddess, and you have this interesting concept that takes place, and Dove Ireland is going to express this as well, and go into the foundation and the dynamics and the mechanics that this all exists as. So this way you have a visualization on how you can perceive creation. You can perceive creation from the highest point of unity, because you see the female and the male as one, as you see the dark and the light, as you see the positive and negative, as you see the finite and you see the infinite. They all are one. Once every particle is realized in a black hole's construct, it must go gamma. By going gamma, it's taken directly back into source energy, which means that it's now creating a new creation. And out of that, we have expansion levels that happen, because creation expands in both directions. It expands in these different levels of creation. I'm putting different sounds right there. The one came up. Let's check the chat room here and see if there's any questions about anything. I'll read some of